Kamusta yo fam, Yowawerts here, and today I'll be showing you how I built my very own Power Rangers Gosei Morpher. Alright Rangers, first step. Let's print the template. The PDF is in the description and nope, you don't have to pay anything for it. Once you've got the templates printed, it's time for the first cut. This is just the rough cut though. We're simply separating each piece from the sheet. No need to be precise, just cut outside the lines. The clean and exact cuts will come later. Next, we're gluing each template piece onto our thin cardboard. Just make sure everything is flat and fully stuck down. Air bubbles aren't allowed. For this build, I'm going to use this type of cardboard. It's not that thick, so I'll be printing the template multiple times for each piece. Once that's done, we wait. This is going to be a lot of work, but first, we wait. If you cut too early, you'll risk peeling or tearing the print. So patience, young ranger. Alright, glue's dry. Time for the real cutting. Each slice now has to be clean and precise. This is exactly why we went with thinner cardboard. It's easier to trace and cut smoothly. So, with about 5 copies of each piece, this step is going to test your patience. After what feels like a century of cutting, the hardest part is finally over. Now it's time to assemble the slider. I started by gluing the inner slider pieces together. Before attaching the final 2 layers, I made these holes to fit the neodymium magnets. I carved out these holes onto 3 layers of the slider piece and glued them together. For the outer slider body, I did the same thing, creating holes at the edges. The key here is making sure that they align perfectly with the magnets inside the slider. Next, on the Morpher's platform piece, I made another set of holes. After gluing the first 2 layers together, I attached the remaining platform pieces without the holes. Once that's done, secure the magnets in place. Just be careful here, make sure that the polarity lines up correctly, or else they'll end up repelling instead of attracting. The magnets here will catch the inner slider whenever it's pulled out, preventing it from completely separating from the Gosei Morpher. To ensure the magnet's polarity is correct, I first attach them to the other magnets and mark the sides that should face outward. This makes the process simpler and helps avoid mistakes. With all the magnets glued in place, I went ahead and secured the entire slider like so. If done right, the mechanism should lock in smoothly, and you get that satisfying click every time. Now it's time to glue all the similar pieces together. Take note that for some parts, I trimmed a little bit of the edges before gluing the layers together. The small gaps that I created will later be filled with wood filler. For one of the layers, I traced the black outlines and separated the pieces to create that prominent line gap on Gosei's forehead. Once the layers are stuck together, you should have something like this. Now it's time to apply the wood filler. This type of filler is super easy to use and dries fairly quickly, which makes the process a lot smoother. I I used a popsicle stick to fill in the gaps, then smoothened the edges with my fingers, dipped in a little bit of water for a clean, seamless finish. After the filler dried, I just sanded down the edges, starting with a rougher grit sandpaper, then switching to a finer grit for a clean, polished finish. When I was satisfied with how the bevels turned out, I just glued the remaining pieces onto the main slider. By the way, here's an interesting fact. Did you know Power Rangers is adapted from a Japanese TV show called Super Sentai? The term Sentai means task force or fighting squadron, and it's actually inspired by military jargon from World War II. After gluing the parts together, I cleaned them up with wood filler and sanded everything smooth for that seamless look. Next, I covered the slider with this piece, filled in the seams with wood filler, and gave it another quick sanding. Then I added the outliner on top of a cardboard base and assembled it onto the morpher, finishing off by covering the edges to hide the cardboard layers. Carving out the edges beforehand makes it easier for me to create the subtle bevels, but you may prefer to glue everything together first and then sculpt your way to get that smooth beveled look. There's really no wrong way of doing it. What matters is getting the look you're aiming for. After all the refining, we now have the main parts ready. Here's the slider, the main body of the morpher, and the faceplate, which I haven't glued on yet since these pieces will be painted in different colors. We'll use gold spray paint for the borders and eye plate. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Before spray painting, I first filled the inner edges of this piece with black acrylic paint. I then made these two ring pieces, then super glued them onto these areas. For the base face, we're coloring it with silver. For the inner mouth slider, a bright red. Now it's time to assemble all the pieces together using super glue. Now for the Gosei card. I printed the card pieces from the template, but instead of regular paper, I used photo paper for a more vivid and glossy finish. To protect the print, I topped it with photo laminating foam. Then I glued it onto thin cardboard and carefully cut it out. Since the card has designs on both sides, I had to make sure the two prints aligned perfectly before sealing them together. Finally, the eyes get a nice pop of green to complete the look. Without any further ado, here is my Power Rangers Gosei Morpher. Thank you so much guys for sticking around until this part of the video. If you've got more awesome craft ideas, drop them in the comments and your idea might just be the next one we bring to life.